Hello, it's been a while, yeah. Welcome to today's episode of Is It Right? Where we ask ourselves, the choices we make, are they right? I can't forget to add that I am passionate about members of my age group, that is, people in their 20s, be it mid, early, or late 20s. So grab your cup of coffee, tea, or a glass of milk and listen in. So today we talk about pressure. Just like your physics teacher, I would ask, what is pressure? Pressure, just like your physics teacher once more. Pressure is the physical force exerted on an object. Before we look at questions around pressure, let's look at some of the areas that we're likely to face pressure in our 20s. The first area we look at is financial. The desire to match up to others at your level or even higher than you can be nerve-wracking at times. The silent chaos that runs in our mind, that moment when a friend is describing a part of his or her finances, talking about how it's a small portion, and in your mind you're silent because that is way above your monthly income. When someone is using a perfume that costs the same as your monthly salary, I know someone can relate to that. The next area we look at is emotional. This is a special area. One, because I've experienced this at a personal level. The small and silent battle that you go through only when you are alone, you are suddenly low, and you don't even understand where it's coming from. It's as if everything in your world is caving in. Where you feel like you aren't able to achieve the emotional balance that you desire in your life. Next, we look at relational. This one affects us more than we know. We just don't analyze it well. The first heartbreak, the toxic relationships you might have had, the many times you forgave him or her, and he or she still betrayed and lied to you. This can become a catalyst to a ton of pressure in your relationships with others. Also, the prevailing pressure that is silent to others may be loud to some others. Still, in a relationship, I can't fail to talk about marriage. Hey, yes, singles in the house. Whoop. Are there people around you still hinting for you to get married? Well, let's just leave that question at that point, right? After looking at those areas, let me ask, what are the check-ins of pressure? By check-ins, I mean the things that seem to trigger some form of pressure in us. First, we look at peers. At every stage of life, we measure up with peers directly or indirectly. Sometimes we don't even realize it, as it can happen subconsciously. The questions that revolve our mind at that moment, are they right? Do we apply more pressure on ourselves than we can handle? Do we affirm ourselves at that moment? Here are these scenarios. You finish school, one of your peers got a lucrative job. One never graduated. One graduated, and 2 years down the line is still looking for a source of income. Another started a business. Another inherited a family wealth and is now touring the world. Where are you? As you question the stage that you are, do you remember to ask yourself of the various stages other people are at? Some struggled in school only to enjoy after school. Others wait for 5 years to land on a dream job. Others work at a small employment for 10 years to get to start their dream business. Others start a small business that takes years to mature. For me, it was a 2-month dead-end struggle with graduation. Thank God for beating that. Whereas others struggled in their childhood and now everything seems to be a walk in the park for them. With such a perspective, the questions that you ask yourself, are they bound to be enlightened? The next check-in of pressure is colleagues. The workplace can be a very interesting field. Yeah, you just finished campus and you met new people who are known as colleagues, right? Who has seen a colleague or an employee that is less qualified heading a department? Then on the other hand, a sadistic employee or employer who doesn't even believe in growth and new ways of life. In this area, the questions you ask yourself, are they right? Do you torment yourself with tormenting questions, or do you construct yourself with constructing questions? If you are employed, what are your goals? Even if it's a short-term employment, have something that you plan to build at your time there and achieve. When colleagues come to ask, when challenges face you at your workplace, what are the questions you ask yourself? Sometimes, we go through life and we miss the point because we go through challenges that intend to mold a specific character in us, but we miss the opportunity. So once again, is it right? The questions you ask yourself when faced with employment pressure. The other one, then we have the last check-in of pressure, which is family. This is a critical area. Before I start, let me highlight that no family is same with another. We all have different circumstances in our families, be it pressure to match up with other sibling standards, or parental standards, or keeping family standards. Things to do with maintaining the image or name of the family. So finally, what are the choices around pressure? What's the one thing you love doing? Pressure is not always bad when used constructively. It can fuel you as an individual into success. You can try a small exercise even as you finish today's episode. Simply note down 3 to 5 areas that you feel somewhat pressured. Let me give an example. I'll give 3 examples. You could note down maybe something like, is it pressure to finish education or pressure to marry? Like I said, these are just examples. Or pressure to buy a new phone. I ran out of examples. Let me use that one. Then aside this, write achievements around these very same areas. For the first one, it was finishing education. Now list the success around matters to do with education, what you achieved up to now. It could be a small step, but it's a success, it's an achievement. Talk of the positive experiences that you've learned about relationships. Don't beat yourself down. Talk of the positive relationships you've had, note them down there. Then finally, write the achievements or the positive statements about your phone. You could be having a very old and outdated phone, but is it still helping you? Note that. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. See ya.